Rocker go up or lose to only Protoss players if I remember correctly, and he's beaten everyone else. So we'll see if that tradition stays alive. Perhaps Rocker's that player that you throw up there to beat anyone that's not Protoss as the game does get underway. A Vile Hawk versus VVV's Rocker here on MLG Dual Site.
Yeah, we had talked about Rocker before being a relatively new addition to VVV. He's only played in a handful of Wednesday night StarCrafts, and for the first several weeks, he got matched up in that dreadful mirror matchup PvP, and it always seemed like one small decision or one small slip of micro cost him the game many times. So last week, we finally got to see him in a PvZ, and he had a pretty decent game on Shattered Temple, was able to withstand a little bit of Roach multi-prong harassment and attack, and eventually macro up into a decent death ball. So hopefully PvZ is his strong point, and he's going to start out on a pretty tough map, PvZ for Protoss and MLG Dual Site.
Yeah, so MLG Dual Site right now, it looks like we're waiting on one of the admins to finish loading up the game. We'll see what's going to happen. There's gold mineral expansions on the top left and bottom right. Zerg players sometimes do like to hide expansions over there as this game does get underway. Right now, we have Rocker spawning as the teal Protoss player here at the 8 o'clock position. Meanwhile, Hawk spawning as the red Zerg here at the 3 o'clock position. And as a Zerg player, Matron, what do you think Hawk will go for? Do you think he'll go for this pool first, or do you think he'll go for a hatchery first on a map like this?
Well, definitely I think pool first is probably the safest opening at this point. If you go hatch first, it's pretty ballsy, especially if your opponent throws down a forge. They're able to cannon your natural a lot of the times. So Zerg players have really been going for that pool first. I think the major decision is how soon he goes for gas. If he goes for gas with that pool, he's going to be able to put on some early pressure, either with speedlings or early roaches, and that can be very good against a forged fast expand Protoss. If he doesn't go for gas first, then he's going to be able to work on his mineral economy and just focus on getting down perhaps a third hatchery very quickly.
All right, we're going to see a probe now already make his way out in order to do a little bit of scouting. And Rocker apparently trying to give Hawk a little bit of advice, saying that you need the timer on the bottom left-hand side right above the map. And Rocker is like, no, you need it for timings. You need to drone. It's like, you always drone. So a little bit of playful banter before this game does get underway. It looks like Rocker will be opening up with a front door gateway followed by a Cybernetics core most likely. And he's going to be sticking to one base. Meanwhile, Hawk does have a spawning pool down. He doesn't have gas. So based upon this, he should be able to train up a queen, get 4 Zerglings right, and then right behind that, be able to set up a hatchery at his natural expansion.
Yeah, and that was actually a 12 pool, so it's a little bit earlier than we typically see. It's going to help defend against any sort of early cheese play. And again, he has yet to place down that gas, so I imagine he's going to be getting his queen out and then expanding as soon as possible. But like I mentioned at the start, this can be a difficult map in PvZ from the Protoss side because getting a Forge Fast Expand on this map can be very difficult. So you're not really going to be able to get onto that 2-base economy as easily. A lot of times you have to decide whether you're going to go for a 1-gate expand, some sort of tech play, or whether you're going to go for sort of a more traditional 3-gate expand. We do see Hawk coming out with his first 4 lings. He's going to challenge this probe for Rocker to be able to throw down that natural. And Rocker at this point just put up a cybernetic score, and at this point he's just working on a second gas as well.
So yeah, a second gas as well. We'll see what he's going to be going behind this. Most likely a Stargate play or a Twilight Council or Robotics Facility, as those are the only 3 options after the Cybernetics core now that I think about it. But Rocker may try to go for heavy sentries. If he does go into a sentry expand, he should be able to get a really strong defense. But I'm not sure if the sentry expansion has fallen out of the metagame, as we now see one probe trying to run all the way back home. The Zerglings may be able to take it down. The probe down to 10 hit points, down to 5, and only a matter of time. Will he be able to get up the ramp? That is the question.
I think, no, he does not get up that ramp, so one probe goes down, and Hawk gets an important piece of information with these Zerglings. He sees that sentry, so he knows that there's at least 1 gate, and he's got a wall off here, Rocker does, and 1 sentry, so he doesn't know whether there's another gate behind it or maybe a 3rd gate, but he thinks that perhaps this is going to be more of a safe build because he does see that sentry. Typically, a more aggressive build would have a Stalker come out as that second unit. So now we do see Rocker has thrown down his second gateway. He's going to put down that low ground pylon and start getting an expansion as soon as he gets the minerals for it.
Yeah, Rocker really playing it safe. Rocker does have the minerals for that Nexus. He should be able to warp it in with... and the Zerglings may try to deal damage and poke at it, but with the sentries and the zealots there, the Zerglings wouldn't be able to do any more than superficial damage on the shields. And I like this move by Hawk. Hawk had originally tried to fly in with the Overlord. As soon as he saw the Nexus on the low ground, he said to himself, okay, I don't need to sacrifice this Overlord yet. I know what my opponent is going, and off of that, I can drone up. You now see Hawk really starting to drone up heavily, training up 8-9 drones at a time, and running off of 2 bases with two queens. Hawk should be able to get a very strong economy, and it's going to be up to Rocker to deal some damage.
Yeah, one of the counters to this this low gateway number expansion with the sentries is to make a ton of lings, but because Hawk got that gas so late, his speed not yet finished, so it's not really an option for him. Instead, it looks like he's going to get the Evolution Chamber and the Roach Warren underway, so he might still try some sort of bust with roaches here. It'll be interesting to see. I think that's a little bit early to be a defensive Roach Warren, though if he is expecting some sort of gateway pressure, a lot of times Protoss will expand and they get a 4th gate and do some sort of pressure, but it looks like Rocker instead going for the Stargate, and Hawk has yet to scout it.
Yeah, but right now, as long as Hawk can hold off this, he is sitting on a nice Harvester advantage right now with 45 drones compared to 30, and Rocker is going to have a very difficult time. The longer this game goes right now, the better the position Hawk will be, as Hawk will be able to hit that magic 200 much more quickly, as you now see the expansion at the 12 o'clock position. So Hawk will be running off of 3 bases, and it will be up to Rocker to try and move out. He is getting up a Void Ray. I believe that is his first Void Ray now, as more gateways are getting thrown down.
Yeah, and Rocker's going to want to send that Void Ray immediately to that 12 o'clock position and try to take down that hatchery. He does not want Hawk to get on a second or on a third base very quickly here. He wants to try to stay even on bases for as long as possible. He's got a lot of gas invested in these sentries, so he's safe for now, but he can't really push out and put pressure on this third unless he uses this Void Ray. And it looks like the Void Ray just now sitting in the main of Rocker, so he might try to get a second Void Ray out and then basically give away the fact that he has gone for that Stargate tech. But I think this is really going to allow Hawk to get up his third, maybe get some creep spread between the 2 bases as well.
Yeah, right now it is only a 10 drone difference as the sentries and zealots are being added. There are no stalkers in this group whatsoever that I can see, as an Overlord. No, Overseer now making its way in, and that Overseer will reveal the Void Ray. The Void Ray may chase after that Overseer. The Overseer doesn't fly all too quickly. Down goes the unit there, and now the jig is pretty much up to, or the gig, or I'm just getting all of my sayings confused, as the Void Rays are now making their way off to the north.
And a Hydra Den goes up immediately by Hawk to try to react to the Void Rays there, and it looks like Rocker pushing out with his Sentry Force. It's going to try to put pressure on this third, but there's just so many Queens and Roaches here to defend. Those Roaches going to be able to take care of those sentries quite easily, and if these Queens are able to take care of the Void Rays, I think it could shut down this pressure.
Yeah, the Queens right now going after the Void Rays. One Void Ray already now down to 0 shields, taking a bit of damage. One Queen may get taken down. It looks like it will get taken down as the Void Ray needs to back off. Roaches are now going after a pylon, and Rocker maybe perhaps slipping a little bit here as the Queens are now off of creep and unable to continue anymore chasing. The Roaches now need to be careful as the Void Rays may get some easy shots there. No, Rocker didn't keep track and was unable to truly destroy them, but Rocker was able to establish his third base. It is now halfway warping in, and this is now turning into a 3 base versus a 3 base, and this is a strange situation for Zerg at the 11-minute mark, where he knows he needs to take up another base, but he doesn't want to spread himself too thin.
Yeah, that might have been a little bit of a feint there from Rocker, as he saw that he was not going to be successful with that attack, did the smart thing and pulled back. He didn't really get the damage done to the economy of Hawk. He did force out a lot of units, and now Hawk doing the smart thing, pushing across the field with these units. he knows, hey, my opponent went for Gateway and Stargate Tech. Hydra's great against both of those, so let's see what kind of damage I can do.
Yeah, the probes getting lucky as the roaches decided to back off right as the probes walked by. The Overlord has not spotted this Nexus just quite yet, and I don't think that Hawk has any idea that the third base is already up and running. There's only one photon cannon though, so with only one photon cannon, the Zerglings and the roaches and Hydralisks should be able to walk in quite easily. We are getting a robotics bay, robotics facility, but it's going to be 7 times before we get a robotics bay for Colossi as the roaches are now pushing in. Is it going to be enough? The probes will need to pull back a little bit as the Void Rays are now pushing in just a little bit. There are 3 Void Rays in the air. They could have easily perhaps taken down many of those Hydralisks as they do have a superior range, or even range right now, until Groove Spines is completed.
Even more sentries coming from Rocker. He's up to 9 at this point. You know, a lot of times we see Protoss get 6 or 7 sentries and just sit on those for a long time, but adding more and more, he really wants his force fields. He knows that off of creep, these units pretty slow, and they're susceptible to force fields and awkward engagements, so he's going to try to engage here. A lot of force fields going down and retreating. He might try to pick up a few roaches here and a few Hydras as well, but he does not want to fight this force head-on. He just doesn't have the DPS or the AoE required to take on the Hydras and roaches at this point.
Yeah, he is getting up a second robotics facility, so he is going to try to go into double Colossi, which is the important move to now go for. With that many sentries, you can really group up all of those Zerg units together and then just allow the Colossi to do their work, take down multiple units per swipe, and hopefully that will be enough to just fight back against this 50 food advantage, as he is now also teching into a Dark Shrine.
And we see a big engagement coming here from Hawk, doing a nice job splitting all of his units, so he's got a great concave, but force fields do go down, trapping a number of those Hydralisks. They're being focused down very nicely by Rocker, and Rocker, again, using these force fields, force fielding out some Lings as well, so he's got Stalkers, Sentries, and Void Rays in the center here, doing his best to use these force fields to keep Hawk at bay, but I'm not sure if it's going to be enough. The forces of Rocker are dwindling, and Hawk just keeps coming with more and more Hydras. Yeah,
the Hydra is just really, really powerful now. 2-0 upgrades, and just being able to sit in the back and relax a little bit. The Colossi may be coming into the party just too little too late. There's one Colossus there. The Hydras, however, have taken down the Nexus, and now you see about a 70 food advantage for Hawk. Hawk knows that he doesn't need to continue this, but now we have some Zealots making their way off to the north, perhaps going to try to take down one hatchery before it really does continue to do any serious mining over here.
Hawk with such a beautiful engagement there. He really split all of his roaches and his Hydras to get a great concave, and then did the smart thing. He pulled back. He did not want to attack up that small ramp where, you know, Colossi and force fields could have shredded all of his units. So he's just going to go home, macro up, probably max out at 200, then push again, and Rocker off of 2 bases. I'm not sure if he's going to have anything to deal with it.
Yeah, at this point, the only thing that could really cause, the only thing that Hawk could do is right now overextend himself and engage in a situation where he's not supposed to engage in order to lose this game. He's running on more bases. He has the stronger economy, and he can produce more units. He has a larger bank as well. So right now, Rocker is just in this uphill battle. Rocker does have 3 Colossi and getting a 4th one with extended thermal lance range. And if Rocker is perhaps able to mass up these Colossi before any Corruptors join the field, that may be enough to perhaps reset the balance or tip the balance a little bit, as Hawk is just so far in the lead.
And we've got DTs in the main and the natural of Hawk, so we'll see how many drone kills those are able to get. Hawk reacting almost immediately, pulling off those drones, so not too many kills here for Rocker, but this is something that could get him back in the game if he's really able to damage the economy of Hawk and try to macro up behind this with those Colossi, as you mentioned. And it looks like he's doing a decent amount of damage at this point. 22 worker kills total for Rocker, so this one Dark Templar does have 10 kills. The other died in the main with about 10 as well, so a lot of damage being done here by Rocker, and we'll see whether it pays off.
Yeah, Rocker even getting a queen in that engagement as well. And now the harvester count is 40 to 55 with 6 more drones being trained. And that was a rather curious move, as Hawk didn't seem like he was expecting Dark Templars at all. And now Rocker now looking to perhaps come back in once more. There is no Overseers, and now the Dark Templar may be able to get in even more kills. No, there is an Overseer right at the main base, and down goes that Dark Templar.
and Hawk lost the gold at the same time. So right now he's on 3 mining bases, and Rocker has gotten up the gold in the southeast corner, and he's got a ton of cannons protecting it. So suddenly it's 3 base to 3 base, and Rocker has the gold. He does have to survive this big assault coming from Hawk. Hawk has all these Lings and Hydras, basically just a ton of DPS assaulting this gold, and we'll see whether Rocker can defend.
Yeah, right now the Hydralisks and the Corruptors are just in the back over here. The Hydralisks are getting grouped up a little bit too far as the Stalkers are now finally engaging. The Stalkers do not have Blink. The Colossi now coming in. There's the Force Fields as the Colossi now trying to rip through many of those Hydralisks, but the Corruptors are going after Colossus after Colossus, casting their Corruption, focusing down the units, and Rocker now without any Colossi, without any AoE, as the last one will get taken down, is now in trouble, and there is the GG.
Just such